Hello, welcome back to Pump with Purpose. This is Dr. Diana here. I am the CEO and founder of Pump with Purpose. We are a global lactation and postpartum private practice, seeing people all around the world on every single continent except Antarctica. We say if you are putting a pump to those nips, we want to be a part of your journey. So I also want to let you know I'm a doctor of public administration, a certified lactation counselor, and a certified breastfeeding specialist. So this podcast episode is a good one because I want to get it out on the table because some people don't realize that something that's happening to them, they don't know what's happening to them, and it can happen to you. So I want to get it out on the table. So this podcast episode is all about Dysphoric Milk Ejection Reflex. I'm going to say it again for these pumping streets. It is called Dysphoric Milk Ejection Reflex, for short D-MER, D-MER. So we want to talk about this because it's a condition impacting lactating women that is characterized by an abrupt dysphoria or negative emotions that occur just before milk release and continuing not more than a few minutes into the milk release. So I want to also be clear and transparent that D-MER has nothing to do with nipple contact or with irritation, with the sensation of nipple tugging. Honestly, you don't even have to be thinking about breastfeeding. You may not. It's just all about the milk releasing. So for example, if it happens right before the milk releases, just in general, or you're having a random letdown, you can feel this negative sensation or negative emotion towards you, this happening to you. So some people don't even realize that this happens. Like, we get this question often of this negative feeling or this association. And so we want to normalize that it is completely normal. It is completely okay in order for you to have this feeling while you are nursing and or pumping. So what does that mean? You may or may not have dysphoria with letdowns when pumping or nursing and before the spontaneous letdown. This is dependent on the intensity of the dysphoria or your D-MER. So it may or may not, just this feeling, the spontaneous letdown, it just depends on how intense it is for you. Some people, it may not include all of the negative emotions. It may just be this intensity. It's not postpartum depression, and most people feel perfectly fine except for the pre-milk moment, if that makes sense. It's like the pre-milk moment where right before the milk is about to let down, then you get this sense or rush of negative feelings. There's no official way to diagnose it. However, it is usually known for the symptoms appearing right before or during a letdown and stops right after or soon after the letdown starts. It can range in intensity. The more common experience is a brief wave of negative feelings such as sadness, irritation, restless, anger, panic, and in some severe cases, depression or anxiety. D-MER can be managed by having a support system and doing things to make breastfeeding more enjoyable. D-MER can resolve on its own in a matter of days, weeks, or it may be some time that you're experiencing. But we want to let you know that, it's completely normal to have this to happen. And depending on the intensity or severity of the situation, it can be helpful to track your symptoms. So this allows for your doctor or healthcare provider to pinpoint any triggers. So what I'm trying to say is that understanding that this happens, understanding that it's not abnormal for it to happen, but also, there are ways to combat it, should I say. So, in different cases, if you find ways to ignore that it's about to happen. So, you could read a book, listen to music, play with your baby, try to think about the positives of why you are breastfeeding, either by nursing and or pumping, why you're doing what you're doing. What do you enjoy watching your favorite television show? If you're able to watch TV out here, catching up on social media or catching up on the news or anything. Listening to a podcast. You could be listening to me right now, right? Whatever it takes for it to lessen that this is about to happen. But I just want to normalize it so people can understand what it is, so you can understand that it does and can happen. And there is an entire organization. If you look up DMER.org, D/MER.org, then you can learn more about it. We want to normalize that there are resources out here to help you, and that it's just really, really important to understand that this happens, the signs that it's happening, and really, if it is impacting you, to talk with your healthcare provider, but just want to normalize that some women experience it and some women do not experience it. So have you experienced D-MER? Have you looked it up? Did you know this was going to be a part of your breastfeeding journey if it ends up being your truth? If you are not nursing it or pumping yet or anything like that, then this is something to just file away in that memory bank of Pump with Purpose was mentioning this thing that I just listened to her podcast. I heard her blog, read her blog about this, right? And just want to normalize that this can happen, just so you don't feel alone in this, and being able to talk through it, being able to understand this is the terminology, this is the word for it, so you can have adult and meaningful conversations on ways to support you while you're going through it, even with your partner. Talking to them about it, since if a partner is present, they will be the person will be around you, talking to your family about it, so they know this is just a moment in time. So like if you see me pulling up to the pump, give me a moment, give me a second, and just helping to figure out ways to support you as this is happening. So just want to normalize this, tell you a little bit about Dysphoric Milk Ejection Reflex, also known as D-MER. So I hope this podcast episode helped free someone today, help someone to understand this term, help someone to understand that it exists, so you can make informed choices if this ends up being your truth. So this is Dr. Diana here. Until next time with Pump with Purpose.